probably be able to see better if I put on my little blue blockers. There we go. Okay. Good to see everyone. You should have received the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from someone on the call. Give you a moment.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Thank you, Elizabeth. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, thank you, Linda. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Okay, questions? Excellent, all right. Minutes are approved as submitted. Any requests for continuance or non-agenda public comments? Hi, Ben, welcome. All right, why don't we move ahead to the Friends report. Joan.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm sorry about that. Our report this month may sound very reminiscent of past months. I just want to let you know that our online book sales are continuing to bring in some income, not as much as obviously we would have if we were in a normal environment. Because all of our in-person book sales in used bookstores have been on hold for almost a year now. We are looking forward to being able to resume at least limited volunteer activities, including possibly outdoor book sales when the public health situation improves. So we're, keeping an eye on the county numbers. The Friends of the San Diego Public Library, as I mentioned last month, will again be offering the John McAllister Memorial Library Scholarships for library staff members who are enrolled in degree or certificate programs. The official announcement we expect will be made later this month. Our board continues to meet virtually, and the combined meeting of the President's Advisory Council, which involves representatives from our chapters with the board, will take place on Saturday, February 13th. And this will include a presentation that we've been looking forward to on the library master plan. It will be for our board and chapter leaders. So we're hoping to have a good attendance here because this is going to mark the beginning of the community engagement process for the library master plan. And people are pretty excited about that. Planning is also underway for our annual meeting, which was postponed from our typical September date. The virtual meeting will be on Saturday, March 13th, and will include the election of some new board members. Library Director Misty Jones will be the featured speaker, and people are really looking forward to, I think, hearing in person about what's going to be happening. We get a lot of questions. And I'm hoping that Patrick Stewart, Foundation CEO, and Scott Eric Burgess, the library shop manager, will be invited, will be providing updates. They've been invited to do so, and I'm hoping that's going to work out. And Patrick is giving me a thumbs up. And I know Scott has already said yes informally. So that's good. So it's going to be a challenge. So any technical advice that people who are, doing, because we haven't done a meeting that large yet. And, but we're looking forward to it. It's, new horizons for us. But thank you very much for the opportunity to give the report.
Great report, Joan, and exciting. I know the foundation, they are experts now at digital meetings. So whether it's Zoom or team meetings or Crowdcast, you'll be in good hands. But thank you for that. Thank you for that great report. And then Misty will come and talk about her crystal ball at your, your meeting. But every week we get closer in and away from, and numbers are going down and vaccinations are happening. It's good to see that we're moving in the right direction. But that's a great report, Joan. And we really appreciate all that the Friends are doing to remain flexible and keep on serving. And we are all very excited at the prospect of eventually opening them up bit by bit when we are safe to do so. So I know that's Missy's favorite question. She probably can't go to the
very cloudy crystal ball.
know, if you only could read tea leaves or something, but great report. Thank you, Joan. All right, let's move on to the foundation report with Patrick.
Thank you. And yes, Joan, I do plan on being there and looking forward to it. Good afternoon, everyone. The biggest thing that I wanted to touch base on today was really centered around the master plan. And I know we've brought it up a couple of times, but we are at that point where we're beginning the community engagement phase, just like Joan had mentioned. So I just want to get you caught up to speed a little bit as to where we're at and what's been happening. And we've got some new commissioners that weren't there in 2019. So to remind everyone that we completed the phase 0, sort of the planning to plan phase, and in 2019, and if you'll recall, that was presented by Group 4 and Carson Block, who are the consultants working with us on the master plan. That was presented at a commission meeting that we held downstairs last, I believe it was November or December of 2019, December 2019. And that sort of illustrated some of the work that they had done gathering some data up to that point. And that was honestly the last time that they were able to gather any data on site. So all the work that's been happening since then has been remote, of course. In July, we got started with the new phase, which is phase 1 of the master plan. And again, that pulled together a series of stakeholders from the Office of Planning, Misty's office, Foundation office, Friends, and then of course our consultants, Catherine Johnston and Presidio Affairs Group. And really in the last 6 months, it's been a lot of data collection, demographic mapping, usage mapping, analyzing that data. One of the big parts of the last 6 months was the distribution of a library staff survey, which saw, goodness, Misty, you can help me, maybe 360 plus respondents, which, you know, according to our consultants, you know, considering the short staff at the library at the time, was an overwhelming amount of responses. And so they were really, really pleased. And they were able to pull together a lot of detailed information about library.
The library will be closing in 20 minutes for cleaning.
A second.
Computers and restrooms will close down in 5 minutes. The library will reopen at 2 p.m.
Including a lot of detail about how the libraries are being used from a technological perspective and what some of those barriers are. Because again, I think that you have to understand that a lot of the new way that libraries are going to be used and are being used now, we can see that happening exponentially. I think, you know, particularly with the libraries being closed physically, that's going to inform a considerable amount of the library master plan going forward. So I want to let you know that there is Charlie has built a page on our website. He's going to put it up, but it's on the supportmylibrary.org/master-plan. So you can get a little bit more information. The actual presentation that G4 made in December 2019 is on there. And then what we're starting now is like I said, the community engagement and community outreach phase. And that's going to come in a couple of, it's going to come in a couple of phases. First, launching with the conversation with the Friends later on this month through April 17th will be the community survey phase. And our goal, like I've said before, is to ensure that absolutely everyone that wants to provide input through this community survey phase will have the opportunity to do so. Misty and I, for example, right now are starting to meet with town council groups, community groups, neighborhood groups, and we are looking to everyone to assist in being able to tell their networks that this community survey is going to be available. We're going to be presenting it in 6 languages aside from English. We're going to be presenting it both physically, being able to be received at the branches that are open, as well as digitally. And we'll be able to have that up on our site when we launch that. And you know, some of the key stakeholders, right, are of course the library in the city, you know, are the friends, are the Planning Commission, the networks that we have through the foundation. We've got some other folks that, and again, we would welcome any connections that you all may have to things like your own neighborhood community town councils. We want to make sure that we are reaching young people, seniors, refugees, the immigrant community, the education community. We've been in touch with San Diego Workforce Partnership, Every Child San Diego Education Equity Roundtable. If there are other organizations and groups that you think that would benefit from participation, please do let us know. And then after the community survey phase will be a series of focus groups that our friends at the University of San Diego's Nonprofit Institute are going to lead. We're looking to have about 10 to 15 focus groups and be able to reach each of the pockets of our community so that we can dig a little deeper into library usage and gives the consultants an opportunity to really understand how the libraries here are being used. Again, this entire plan, it's going to be very unique. I have a feeling this entire phase will happen entirely virtually. So they are not going to be able to come and tour some of the branches, at least, not yet. So we're hoping perhaps in early summer they would be able to come, but the focus groups are going to be a great opportunity for them to dig a little deeper into the way the libraries are being used. At the end of all of this, again, part of our conversations, our presentations, not only to you, but to city council committees and other key stakeholders. And it's really important to us that as advisors to the mayor and the council, when this process is done, we really need you to be able to make the recommendation to the city to adopt the master plan. And we're excited about what we're going to find. And we're excited about the way that it's going to inform library growth and development in the future for the city of San Diego. And so all of your help is going to be needed, and then as a body to be able to advise our elected officials to adopt this plan. That's going to be very important. So in the coming months, when we make some updates to the commission, they will be about the community engagement plan and then the community engagement phase. And then we're probably going to reach out to you individually and make sure that you all are also participating and you've gotten the information that you need. And if you have other inroads into your networks or other aspects of the community, be sure to let us know. Any questions? Thoughts, comments, concerns?
Great work, Patrick. I think it's wonderful to see it in the multiple languages. And really, again, just to reiterate that, everyone's input is important and valued. And I think, the foundation is really doing a great job of really trying to get out there and asking for, people love to give their opinions. Now is the time. Yep. Now is the time. So note taken to let you know if there are any other potential collaborations that could be made to get this out to a greater audience. But I think it's really exciting.
Yeah.
So one of the interesting at the community, the planning group meeting that Patrick and I attended, I thought it was really interesting because one of the attendees asked, our library has not been open in 10 months. We have a new library and we're not even able to use it. I'm assuming they meant Mission Hills, but so how do we tell people, who say, why should I give my input when the library is not even open or hasn't been open? And one of the things that I responded to her is it's more important now because we want people's input on what our services look like after the pandemic. And that is really what we have been really thinking about and struggling. I mean, we've shifted so much. We shifted to the virtual hub. We shifted to pickup service. And we're getting great feedback. People would like for that to continue when we reopen. And of course, a lot of it is a capacity issue. But do we need to reopen with somewhat of a different model than we had before? I think that people, have really gotten used to being able. I was talking to the California State Librarian, and he said, these virtual programs and just the breadth and the availability. It's really easy for, and he used this example, Junior, your 3-year-old who's 11:30 at night and can't sleep, and you can just pop on a story time and let it replay over and over and over again. And people are really enjoying having that. And so how do we continue to maintain? And it's been a conversation I've had with the city executive team and also with the mayor yesterday about, continuing to be able to offer these resources with our limited capacity, being able to continue to offer ebooks with the same sad little materials budget that we have, but the increase in demand of the online resources. So it's something that we're definitely thinking about and need people's input on.
Great point, Misty. And I think, it's a little bit like voting. It's, you can't complain if you don't participate, right? So here's your chance, come one and come all. So exciting. Okay, any other questions oh yes, Elizabeth.
Well, I have a question for Misty, and maybe we've covered this, I just can't remember. Are you finding that during the pandemic that you're bringing in a more or different kind of customers that you weren't reaching before?
Yeah, we are. So we've had, I think it's the online availability and all of the things that my staff has done. They did a tremendous job of having, there's something every single day, 2 or 3 things a day online. And that has really brought in or opened people up to, I had no idea that the library was doing, all of these things, or that they had these offerings. This dance pants party that they have. It's like, in the attendance at that at North University, they had to move it to the rec center because they'll get 150 kids. But now, the online presence is just enormous. And I know that, and it thrills me, but I know that that's going to continue. And when we reopen, are those people going to then transfer and do things in person, or are they still going to want that virtual presence? And my guess is they're still going to want those virtual offerings.
Yeah, you've got your hooks in them now.
Yeah. And so how do we continue to do that, still do what we're doing in person?
It'd be interesting to look at what some of the libraries are in other parts of the world or country where things are safer and things have opened up, what their strategies have been.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that when I'm on a Urban Libraries Council Directors Forum, and that's one of the things that we're hearing nationwide is that people want the pickup service to continue. That's like the one thing that people are like, we really like, being able to pull up and call you and say, hey, can you bring my books out?
That's nice.
It's nice, right? Who wouldn't want that? Right. And then, some libraries even went as far as doing story times on the phone. So they'll record them and then people can call and listen to it on the phone. And that's been huge, particularly in rural areas where people don't have internet access. And so we haven't done that yet. But I just think we've opened up all of these, we responded so quickly and so adeptly that now we're like, whoa. So now we're gonna have to figure out how to maintain our success. So
you've spoiled us, Misty, and
it's a good problem
the
to
library
have.
Programs have spoiled us. The foundation has spoiled us, and I think it'll be interesting. As much as we do really want to get back in person and miss that, you think about all of the convenience that this digital, if you don't have to pack up the kids and bring them all to the library or whatever it is, participate at an event, but it's really just getting to your device and turning it on, and how much time that saves. And, you know,
I think our programs from this point on, especially big programs, we're going to have to be in person and a virtual,
yeah,
you know,
I
for
think
people to be able to participate either way.
both ways. I think
Yeah.
that option, our people have come to rely on it. And
Yeah,
so,
because we're just seeing numbers in programs that we would get 30 and 40 people getting 120, 130 people, just because it's virtual and it's really easy to just, you know, turn on your camera and you don't have to get dressed and fight traffic to get downtown. So,
yeah, well, good, great work. Good stuff. Shall we move forward then? If there isn't anything else for Patrick, shall we move forward to the report on library construction projects then? Yes.
Yeah, so we have just a few. The Pacific Highlands Ranch, the bidding is out now. Bidding process started in January. We're getting we get a lot of people who are emailing me asking how they, I'm like, I have no idea. So I mean, to direct them to, but it's encouraging to see that a lot of people are responding. They really feel like, depending on how this goes, that we could likely break ground. Their conservative estimate is this summer, to break ground this summer. So we're hopeful that will still, but we'll see if the budget situation has any impact on that. There's been some call to delay capital projects for a little while, so we'll see if that, but this one is fully, you know, this one's funded. So it's not a matter of having to find funding. So it's already funded. So
I was gonna say that FBA is way over.
yeah,
you shouldn't have any problem.
We should not have any problem
in that community.
The only problem we're going to have is like the staffing after, but I feel like we're going to be in a better situation by the time it's built. So we should not have issues, hopefully. So I'm hoping it's going to go forward. Other things are, just to give you kind of an update, Ocean Beach, it's still moving along. The in-house design. We do need to identify some additional funding to finish that design next fiscal year. We have a meeting tomorrow. It's the CIP advisory committee. So I'm putting the pitch in for us to be able to reallocate some money to finish the design. And then there's a potential, or there is a donation, a gentleman has come forward to the foundation.
In 5 minutes. Please proceed to the exits. The library will reopen at 2 p.m.
Okay, sure would. So we, you know, so that would really kind of push it, you know, it would move it along. So we're trying to do our advocacy efforts to get in there and get this project included in the future plans. So. What else is City Heights, the Annex plan, and I may have mentioned this to you before, is the Annex. So you have the Annex, which is the black box theater, and then there's an office or kind of a building next to it that has some office space. The Head Start is in there. It's part of that whole City Heights complex, urban village. Price Charities had come to Jonathan Gloos, who's director of the Commission for Arts and Culture, and saying they really wanted to look at revitalizing and putting some, you know, effort into, and potentially some money into revitalizing that space. And so we've been working with him, hired a consultant to do a business plan for us that we can present to Price. Initially, it was supposed to be done at the end of January, but Price came back and said, you know, we'll give you some extra time because we like where this is going and want to make sure it's done right. The consultant's done an amazing job of engaging community members and different organizations. She's reached out to, I don't know if you're all familiar with the organization David's Harp, Brandon Stepp. It's a nonprofit that really works with youth. And it works with youth, that a lot of youth that have been in the juvenile justice system, and gives them opportunities to trains them in, you know, video production and music production, and gives them avenues for careers and success. and it's just he's done amazing things. And so she's engaged him for a potential of, either working with us on some programming or using the space to kind of duplicate that program in the City Heights area. We're also working on, for the theater, the actual black box theater, having either a theater group or a nonprofit or someone come in and be like in residence and run that. The problem we've always had internally is we've never had the capacity to be able to fully program that space, for what it could be. So it's really exciting. I like where it's going. Price Charities is happy where it's going. So we should have a finished business plan in the March to April timeframe. We'll certainly come back and share what that looks like with you all, but looks like there's some really exciting things going on in that area. So that's exciting. We just keep going.
Yes, please.
Keep on moving. Purple tier. So we've gotten out of the stay-at-home order, but we are still in purple tier. We decided not to. The only change that happened with us when we did the stay-at-home orders, we dropped from 25 to 20% capacity. So we just decided to stay with that for a couple of weeks to make sure that we weren't going to slide back down into another stay at home or something wasn't going to happen before we started bumping it up a little bit. So we're getting, because the last thing and what we keep doing is adding and pulling back and adding and pulling back. And so we're going to play it by ear, hope that we stick, and then we'll start to increase the capacity a little bit. We're still not going to do much addition to services other than maybe doing opening up some browsing for people or something, but not really adding too much in services. And part of the reason that we're doing that also is we have a lot of vacancies, and because of the budget cuts, we're trying not to fill any vacancies that we don't have to, just to kind of see what that vacancy savings will do for us and how it could help us not have to cut as much in the next fiscal year. So that's where we are on reopening. We're still doing the pickup service. Still have the 12 libraries that are just very, very small and not able to reopen. We have managers meeting tomorrow, so Joan will appreciate this. We're going to open up the discussion again about the Friends now that we're out of the stay-at-home order and what we can do to start getting the Friends back in. There's been some really good discussions with other library directors, some creative things that they've been doing, some outdoor sales, book bundles, that Friends have been putting together, and $5 book bundles for people, using pickup service to be able to purchase. So there's some ways I feel like we can start. I'm particularly interested about the Friends getting access so that we can resume donations, because that's been that's always a big source of funding for us. Library Next, we are meeting, so UCSD, Ed Aveda from UCSD, and Patrick and I are going to meet. I believe it's next week, but we're in a phase with Library Next where we want to start. We always had this anticipation that this was a program that could be replicated nationally, and so we're really going to start trying to plan on how we can do that. And partly the reasoning that I want to do it is I want to get it for free. So I want to be able to replicate it nationally so that we don't have to pay for it anymore, and let other people pay for our participation. But I do think that it's such a valuable program and can be replicated in so many different ways that fit with different communities and different, just capacity of different library systems. And so we're looking at that using, San Diego as kind of the platform, and growing this program and helping other libraries participate. So that's exciting for us. As you know, Cindy Martin, we're had her briefly. We're likely going to lose her again. I have not heard about a replacement for her when she moves on to her new role, but I'm sure they'll try to get her replaced as soon as possible. So we'll find out. I'm really, really hoping that it will be someone else who is in the school system, because just having her on the board has done so much for the partnership that we have with the school system, because it's just opened up so many different partnering opportunities. It's amazing. So I want to continue that momentum. And then to let you know, we started a diversity and equity committee internally in the library. They have, we had a meeting last week and they've got some big, plans. But what we're going to start first, they've identified 2 priorities that they want to start working on. And one is our policies and making sure that any of our policies are, that we're not creating barriers, or that we're eliminating policies that create barriers for people. And then the second is the internal work culture. I feel like it's really important when you push out an initiative like that, that you've got everybody on board with that initiative, and you're really explaining to the staff of why this is important, and and creating that internal culture. And so they're starting to work on that. So I'm really excited about that moving forward. Equity is our big push for this year. It's for our big push always, but it's really one of the focus areas that we have. And that's creating equitable services, programs, our collection. There's just a lot that we need to do. So that is all just the update. This will probably be a pretty fast meeting, because the only other thing I have, Patrick did the master plan part of the general, but is the budget. So the budget, I wish I had a crystal ball. The budget is not good. And there was a news article in that it's really interesting, because we were given a target of a 12% cut. But the news article said that they were looking at an 8% cut for libraries and parks. But then it also had the deficit number is higher than what we were given. So I'm not sure. We have not gotten any information back that says, oh, you can reduce it down to 8% instead of 12. So we still did the 12% exercise, put that through. I will say definitively what we put up is Sundays and Mondays were what we had to put forward for closing. And that's all locations on Sundays and Mondays. And then, reducing Central's hours by about 5 hours a week to align with the branches. Among, some of the other, we had to put up potentially, our training budget, the programming budget, reducing the, we didn't have to reduce the homework program. So we were able to maintain that and hold on and not have any reductions to that. So it's a kind of wait and see. Our budget review is next week. We're getting an opportunity this time. It's a little different. We used to have only 15 minutes to go through all of our budget reductions and additions. We get 60 minutes this year. They want to hear an overview of our department. They also want, which I think is great, they want our historical cuts. So they want to know what we've had to give up in the past. And I think that is really good for us, because we always get the stink eye when we say we're putting up hours. But when you look at what we've cut over the last 4 years, then it's the realization that there's nothing else but hours. So We don't have anything else to cut. We've already cut everything else as much as we could.
Misty, can I ask a quick question? You said that there isn't going to be an impact to the homework program, but is that even with the Monday cut?
Yeah, so what we're going to do, because it used to be Monday through Thursday, so we would probably just shift it to
Oh, I see.
Friday. Yeah,
okay.
Still do
Thank
the
you.
4 days. Yeah. And it's yeah, so we would not have to cut any of that. So we'd probably either to Saturday or Friday or something, be able to maintain. And then that's going really well online. So there's also the potential that maybe we have, you know, one of those days or some part of that as an online service as well. So, yeah, it's going to be, I mean, every indication, guys, and I'll just be real honest, is we're going to get cuts this year. I just don't think that there's any way around it. It's just not there. I just don't know. I don't know what federal stimulus money is coming in. I don't know how much is coming in and what, you know, what the impact will be. And if we, you know, I don't know, but I would anticipate we're trying to keep it to vacant positions as much as possible. We're not filling any positions that are not necessary, absolutely necessary. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough year. So
Are there communities in particular where the Monday hour cuts are going to be a heavy hit in that could help, say, the foundation with advocacy, for example?
yeah, you know, we want to look at that. And the reason that we always put, you know, it's hard for us because we put up Mondays, you know, a lot of times it has to do with the staffing and the way the staff is scheduled. And we can't really do a split of their work week. So have them be off on a Saturday, you know, a Saturday and then have them be off on a Wednesday, right? You know, Mondays they're not the ideal day, but there is a precedent for Mondays. We've been closed on Mondays before, which is why we, you know, kind of chose that. Sundays, of course, is because we're only open in 13 locations. Yeah, you know, I want to look at, we need to look at the statistics, and we're, you know, in the middle of kind of looking at what the attendance is and the circulation is in certain areas to kind of determine what is the impact.
I think that would just be helpful for the
Yeah.
constituencies, especially across the council districts, to understand the impact and where that's going to happen, especially when we talk about equity.
Yeah,
I could see
absolutely.
that being part of the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because when we were really looking at this initially, we didn't know, and we were struggling with, are we going to have to close? Are we going to have to share hours between locations? You know, I mean, we were really at that point where we were thinking we didn't want to close anybody altogether, because every indication that I'm getting, they want us to put forward things that can be easily restored, because they don't feel like this is not a permanent budget reduction, right? So, and that the economy will recover. So we didn't want to, you know, like last year where we had to propose Beckworth, we didn't want to do that again this year. But yeah, I know that there's going to be a lot that are really adversely affected on Mondays. And, you know, you go back and forth. Is it Monday? Is it Saturday? And then you feel like you have to have a weekend day because some people just can't get there during the week. So
the challenge is you're making impossible decisions, right? And no great answer. And
it's like, do you cut off your right leg or your left leg? You know,
I mean, you can't have your hand, you know, I mean,
right? Yeah.
I think we need to be prepared. You know, we've been singing this tune for a long time, and Misty and her team have done a really great job of making just, you know, tough decisions. But this might be the year that we don't come back and go, phew, well, no one had a stomach for some, you know, hours, so we're going to keep them. But I'm just feeling like, to your point, Misty, there really is nowhere. I mean, there really has been nowhere So it might just be the year that I just hope they don't take your recommendations, but I mean, where else is it going to come from? So,
yeah. And, and I struggle too, because I struggle with, and I had said this before, is with the programming budget, and we put the programming budget further down on the priority list, take hours before you take that, because I still feel like a lot of it's important what you do when you're open, in the hours that you're open. And you have to be able to provide, it's not about just keeping the doors open. You also have to be able to provide services when those doors are open. And so that's really why I was kind of loath to, to put that up. It's so, it's not much anyway. And we're able, because if you cut that programming budget, I mean, you're cutting summer reading, you're cutting spring into STEAM, you're cutting, I mean, just some really crucial programs that have made a huge impact. And so, yeah, it's a tough one all the way around, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and save a lot of, whatever it is to.
And hats off to you and Raul and the team and Bob and everyone. Really, I know you've thought this through every which way to Sunday and what is strategically the best move, what has the least amount of impact, and then so many factors to consider.
And we did have, and we have asks this year. So we did ask for an increase in, to be able to maintain our online resources. We do need more, a larger janitorial budget, because now we have to do these cleanings with COVID twice a day. So there's so many other things that have come into play that are kind of, pulling away from, our core services. So, and I think you saw, there was a news article about, they were asking Mayor Gloria what, with budget cuts. And, and always, we never can compete with fire and police. I mean, that's always the first priority, is health and safety. And so, yeah, so but I think that, I always say libraries are, I mean, if you had education and libraries everywhere, then you might not need so many police, but
libraries are essential.
But
thank you for that update, Misty. Are there any other questions for Misty on the lovely budget? Anything else, Misty, that you wanted to add to your report?
No, that's it. I'm just looking at the chat, and Ben, yes, I can send you some information on the Black Box Theater. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because the architect, they had a meeting with the architect, and that Black Box Theater was an afterthought. The architect's wife was a ballet dancer, and said, she was like, you should just put a Black Box Theater. And then, Saul Price was like, okay, whatever you want to do. So that's why it's like just this little kind of in the corner there. So.
Right. Well, and just to add to your earlier comments, all of our best wishes and congratulations to Cindy Martin. We were lucky to have her in the community as long as we did, with her history coming up as a teacher and then in administration, and then even her short duration on the commission. We really appreciate. Also wanted to throw out a quick congratulations to Elizabeth Hansen. I don't know if you all know about her promotion. President, Southwest Strategies. Congratulations, Elizabeth. And to all of you that are always doing great things. There's probably too many things to update on, but those were the big things I was aware of. But a great presentation on the master plan, Patrick, and thank you all for joining us. Just a reminder that our next meeting will be March 3rd. So put that on your calendar. Do we have any commissioner comment or other business?
Just have a quick question for Misty and maybe Patrick, and this is something that you may have discussed already or thought about, have done, but it just occurred to me that I've seen so many grant opportunities for institutions that need to adapt for the COVID needs, right? And I'm wondering if through the Friends side, we could tap some of those funds for some of those expenses that add up so tremendously to be able to get those libraries ready for the time. Is there anything like that that we thought about or we've applied for?
We've looked into it. We've received a couple of little small ones, like 10,000 here, 10,000 there for like personal protective gear and things. But definitely, yeah, we're constantly looking for things that will offset. And we've been fortunate with the city, got a lot of CARES Act funding. So initially, a lot of our costs were covered through that, but that funding ran out at the end of December. So that's where we're kind of trying to, and then, the city's hoping to get some more stimulus money to offset some of that. The state library has asked, I spoke to the state librarian, and the advocacy committee for the California Library Association actually asked the state for, I want to say it's 250 million for libraries in the state to help, offset a lot of those costs and, expenses that our adjustments we've had to do because of COVID. So we're waiting to hear back. I hear that the state has a huge surplus of money. So I think, Raul, you had got some of that same information. So we're hoping to get a little piece of that. And then the federal, they've put in a request for the federal to do a program for library infrastructure. So related to this.
Great question, and fingers crossed for grant money from wherever, right? So,
yeah, but if you come across anything, if you see anything, Linda, please send it my way that you might think might be applicable.
Yeah, there's one from the NEH that for libraries specifically that are doing innovative, interesting work like you're thinking about in the City Heights. There might be something there, and maybe we can circle back.
Okay, awesome.
And look at some of those things, and maybe they can go through the Friends side or something, so it doesn't go through all the other levers. But we'll circle back.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Linda. Any other commissioner comments? Right. Any other business? All right, well, thank you all for joining. I will give you 11 minutes back to your day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you all for showing up today, and we'll see you in March, if not before then. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.